Good evening, everybody. This is the BuzzCity post game show for game number 14 of the NBA season. I'm your host, Danny Thompson. Check with you tonight. I am the senior NBA writer for the 3pointconversion.com covering the Charlotte Hornets. And this is the best post game show you're going to find about your Charlotte Hornets. You're going to find his show here on Happs TV, as well as YouTube, Facebook Live, and any Periscope, Twitter, and any other place you can basically find social media everywhere. Yes, and since you're watching this probably on the Happs app as well too, if you do not have Happs, please go ahead and download it today because it's a great super platform that makes it easy to simulcast broadcasting to not just my social media channels, but everybody else's social media channels at one place, and also a place where I can see all your comments and post it live on live as well too. And if you enjoy my broadcast, what I want you to do is go ahead and I encourage you to download the Happs app today and subscribe for great content for myself and plenty of other journalists, and you'll get up to 100 free coins that you can get for joining and also supporting my work as well too. So at the same time, appreciate Precious stopping by. And as you saw what she did, she blessed me with $1. And if that's something you like to do as well too, by all means, like, subscribe, and donate as well too, as well as sponsor the show. So tonight, the Charlotte Hornets will end their first part of the season. It wasn't the way it was planned. They went down to Tampa to play the Toronto Raptors twice in a 3-game period. And tonight they fell short again for the second consecutive game by 3 points. It was a close one, 116-113 tonight. And this game was just the Charlotte. One thing you say about the Hornets tonight was they got off to a great start, but it was just late game execution, a non-foul call at the end of the game. You had Gordon Hayward slip on an inbound pass. There was a multitude of reasons that caused this game not to go in the Hornets' favor, without even talking about the fact that Toronto hit 21 3-pointers in the game. And to put it in perspective, the Raptors played, 96 minutes of basketball in 2 games and knocked down 81 3-pointers in 2 games. 41 3-pointers in 2 games against the Charlotte Hornets in 2 games. It's just not what you wanted to see. It wasn't the defensive effort you would have wanted the Hornets to have after seeing so many 3-pointers go in the other night against the Raptors. So, like I said, if you're in the comments as well, by all means, please say hello. Also, at the same time, just like I said, share with all your friends, especially people in BuzzCity. So let's talk about the game tonight. Like I said, 116-113 was the final tonight. And really, the game started out from the beginning. This was Charlotte's game to start the game. They came out like a house on fire. They started the game really, really well. Charlotte was doing everything they needed to in the early part of the game, getting easy baskets. They were getting. You saw Devontae Graham go to a hot start. He had 6 points in the early going, and the Hornets were up 14-2 in the first 5 minutes of the game. They're up 14-2, and you were thinking that this is going to be a game where Charlotte would just keep the foot on the gas, but the ugly elephant in the room reared its head again, and that was the Raptors 3-point shooting. They started the same way they did the other night, and they just started lighting up the Charlotte Hornets behind the 3-point line. That was the problem. We saw it on Monday night. It happened again. Toronto, after the slow start, they knocked down 6 3-pointers in the final 6 minutes of the first quarter. And the telling part of the quarter was Pascal Siakam was struggling. They were getting what they needed on the court, and Norman Powell came in off the bench along with Chris Boucher, but Norman Powell started on a 3-point barrage. Can you guys hear me? If you're watching it, says no sound. I'm not sure where the sound's coming from. If you're in the chat, you can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me or not. It seems like my microphone might not be working. But I'll continue until somebody tells me they can't hear my sound. So when you watch the game tonight, it was really Norman Powell checking into the game along with Chris Boucher. Now, with Chris Boucher, we've learned in the last 2 games, Aaron Baines doesn't play very many minutes. And the reason why Chris Boucher starts, the fact that Chris Boucher gets in foul trouble pretty easy. So when you get in foul trouble, that's the reason why he doesn't start. It's better for him to come off the bench, save those early fouls, and if he's not in foul trouble starting the third quarter, he starts the third quarter. Good thing Chris wasn't in foul trouble because he started the third quarter tonight. But back to the first quarter, it was really Norman Powell getting behind that 3-point line and just literally lighting up the Hornets. He came in, played 6 minutes. He scored 8 points, hit 2 of them from beyond the arc. On top of that, Chris Boucher came in. Malachi Flynn, the rookie from San Diego State, he also chipped in. The Raptors hit 4 3-pointers in the quarter. Charlotte was punching back with what they had. Like I said, DG Goff took a good start. Gordon Hayward was starting to feel himself, especially as you go into the second quarter, where Hayward literally did what Hayward always does, has been doing all season, getting to the free throw line. He had 5 free throw attempts in the quarter. And Charlotte, what we haven't seen in the first half in the last few games was the fact that the Hornets were the super aggressive team in the first half. Getting to the foul line had been a trouble for the Hornets in the previous game, and they exceeded that in the first half. They hit 17 of 20 from the free throw line, and when you get to the line 20 times compared to the Raptors 10, it is a humongous difference on the floor because it gave Charlotte more opportunities to get to score when the clock was running. The bad part was, once again, Charlotte did not guard the three-point line. In the first quarter, they were 6 of 14. In the second quarter, they were 7 of 12. The 7 of 12, this time, it wasn't Norman Powell. This time, it was Fred VanVleet in the second quarter. He knocked down 3 3-pointers in the quarter. On the Hornets end of the things, like I said, this was a quarter where even though they outscored the Raptors, Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier had 25 points in the quarter. It was them two really carrying the offensive load. You saw PJ Washington being much more aggressive, especially on the rebound again. And Charlotte took they took a 2-point deficit at halftime after Rozier's 3-pointer. It was 60. What was it? At the half, it was the halftime score was, I'm sorry, free screen froze on me. It was 66-64 at the break. Leading scorers for both teams at the time. You had Powell had 13 for Toronto. Hayward had 21. I said 14 in the second quarter. When Gordon Hayward is on, and we've watched this throughout the season, he has these spurts and moments in the game where he just takes the game over with that quick step back, with that ability just to use veteran moves, that things that he's perfected over the years. His mid-range game is completely on fire, and the fact that you see him getting to be super aggressive. So the shots fall. And when the shots fall, it makes the game easier for Gordon. He had 21 at the break, and you thought at this point he was going to have a night like he's been having. You go back to the Atlanta game, you go back to the Brooklyn game, games where he has had big numbers, especially in the scoring column. Third quarter comes around, the Hornets start doing what they had been doing in previous games. They start defending. You saw that in the fourth quarter, especially in the second half in the game on Thursday. They started defending in the third quarter. Good news with the defending in the third quarter was Charlotte got the lead down to 1 at the end of 3. You saw Charlotte just shifting, but the one thing that did shift was Devontae Graham's play. Known from basically making all the assists and doing other things because his shot wasn't falling, you see Devontae start getting confidence in his shot in the third quarter as he transitions to the fourth quarter. We get to the fourth quarter. Like I said, it's a back and forth game. Both teams are going back and forth. I mean, really, Charlotte had a stretch in that fourth quarter where they just completely died on offense. In a game where I want to say it was 89-89, they were stuck on, I think it was 94, 95. They were stuck in the 90s for about 6 minutes. They couldn't hit a shot. But the thing was, they were playing good defense on the other end, and they kept the game close. Down the stretch, Terry and Devontae went off at the end of the game. When Charlotte couldn't get a basket, those two guys had combined for 14 points down the stretch of the game. Devontae hit shot after shot, especially when Charlotte needed him. He hit a huge 3-pointer with 2 minutes left in the game to get the lead down to 2. Then after Chris Boucher scored, he got the lead back down to 2 with another layup. And then Terry knocked down a 3-pointer. Charlotte was down 1. Toronto started hitting free throws, and it came down to 2 possessions at the end of the game. And these are the questionable possessions that people are going to ask about at the end of the game. And we'll talk about what Coach Borrego said, because at the end of the game, that wasn't the 2 shots, I think. Even though he said that he wants to take a look at the tape and see what on those 2 plays. Well, watching it from the perspective I had it from home, the inbound I think they were down with Gordon Hayward in the inbound. The ball was Devontae, and really what they were trying to do is they were trying to switch, and they got the switch they wanted, where Gordon Hayward was down low with Kyle Lowry. The problem was Kyle Lowry is one of the strongest point guards in the entire league. So posting up, a guy like Kyle Lowry is like posting up a truck. It's hard. And he's a veteran. No, there's a reason why Kyle Lowry takes more charges than anybody in the NBA. He knows what he's doing. He has great footwork. They got tangled up which forced Devontae Graham to had to go one-on-one with the Raptors' best defensive player, which is OG Anunoby, their best defensive player on the court. It caused a shot clock violation. They went down, knocked out a couple free throws, but then on the inbound, PJ gets the ball and hands it over to Devontae, who knocks down a long-range three-pointer. Make it up for the missed half turnover. That made it his 20th point of the game. That was the Hornets' third 20-point score in the game on the team. And Chris Boucher knocked down 2 key free throws after Charlotte almost stole the inbound. And the final play of the game came out. The inbound was to Terry Rozier. Rozier was fouled in the play. The referees didn't call the whistle. Rozier was hit on the leg. As he was hit, the call was not made. Hornets lose 116-113. So the Charlotte falls to 6th day of the season. Like I said, they were led by Gordon Hayward, who had 21 of his 26 in the first half. Terry Rozier had 24. Devontae Graham had 20 points in the game. So let's talk about what we saw from the Hornets' perspective tonight. So Devontae Graham, we all have been saying, Devontae Graham has been struggling since the season started. Tonight was Devontae's best offensive game of the season, 7 of 14 from the floor. He knocked down 4 of 9 from the three-point line, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, but the key number was 0 turnovers. He had no turnovers in his almost 39 minutes tonight on the floor, played an outstanding game tonight. It looked like Devontae started finding confidence. He had 14 in the second half. I think he had 8 in the final, 3 minutes of the game. He kept Charlotte. Him and Rozier were keeping Charlotte in the game when Toronto was trying to pull away, and they were matching basket for the Raptors. Like I said, also you look at Rozier's 24 points. He had the big 3 before halftime. He had the missed 3 at the game, but Terry was Terry. Scoring is what Terry's been doing all season, and efficient scoring, 9 of 19 for the floor, but he did knock down 6 of 12 from the three-point line. He contributed 9 rebounds in the game, as well as he had 2 assists as well, too. Like I said, Hayward had 25 points and 5 rebounds. PJ Washington, another double-double, 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists for the Hornets. LaMelo Ball off the bench had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, in his 23 minutes of the game. Miles Bridges, 10 points and 4 assists. Bismack Biyombo had heavy minutes tonight, 6 points, 11 rebounds in his 34 minutes. Other guys that played, Caleb Martin played 5 minutes, scored 1 point, and Malik Monk came in the game, knocked down 2 free throws in his 3 minutes and 52 seconds for 2 points. All right, so what are my impressions of how the Hornets played tonight? So we talked about Devontae. This is the game Devontae needed. As Charlotte takes 3 days off before they get back into action, potentially on Wednesday. And the only reason why I say potentially on Wednesday is because the Washington Wizards have 6 guys with COVID right now, and they have a whole bunch of guys on top of that in protocol. So we're not sure if the Hornets will be playing this game on Wednesday. Facebook user in the chat. I know it says Facebook user, but the reason why it says Facebook user is because we need you to download the Happs app. That way we can see what your name is. And also, like I said, you can subscribe to the show. And the Facebook user says the Hornets make the playoffs. Well, that's the whole purpose of the whole thing. So when it came down to it tonight, Devontae needed this game. If Devontae's been catching a lot of flack from Hornets fans on both sides, the people that support Devontae, the people that want to see LaMelo Ball in the starting lineup, it's been coming from both sides. Devontae's shooting hasn't been where it was last season. And it's been said multiple times on this post-game show as well as in other places, Devontae wasn't a 45, 43, 44, even a 42% shooter last year. He shot 38.5%. So the law of averages will catch up with Devontae. His shots will go down. But a game like tonight where he hit 7 shots, 4 from behind the arc, he needed a game like this. And I understand there is a section of this fan base that wants LaMelo Ball to play on a consistent basis and play on a regular basis. I understand that. LaMelo Ball is an extremely talented player, but to say that LaMelo Ball needed more minutes than Devontae Graham tonight was completely just a terrible concept. The reason being is that when you look at the way the game is played tonight, Devontae played all those minutes. And there's nothing against LaMelo Ball, but Devontae hit those shots down the stretch. When you needed those 3-pointers down the stretch, I don't think LaMelo was going to make those shots. No, and like I said, it's nothing against him. He's still a kid. He's still learning the game. But those shots Devontae hit, that one he rose over to get the lead to 1, I don't think LaMelo Ball makes that shot. LaMelo had a key miss that was in and out in the fourth quarter that normally goes in, that should go in. The same thing with Miles in the fourth quarter. But tonight, if you compare the two between Tay and you talk about Melo, Tay outplayed him. It's really simple. It doesn't take, if you watch the game, Tay outplayed LaMelo the whole game. And not to say LaMelo had a bad game. It's just that when you have a guy that's performing on the floor, you keep him on the floor, especially if he's able to knock down shots. And Devontae's shot was going in tonight. The all question is, well, LaMelo should get more playing time. Listen, he did play 25. He played 23 minutes tonight, but he was a negative 19 on the floor. For those who understand what plus minus means in the NBA, when you're at negative 19, that means the Raptors outscored the Hornets by 19 points when he was on the court. The only player that had a lower plus minus, a worse plus minus tonight, was Miles Bridges. It is what it is. And the reason why Miles Bridges is playing, because the front line of Washington, Biyombo, and Miles plays the small ball 5. So that's the reason why he was on the court. But Terry Rozier had plus 20 tonight. PJ had plus 19, and Devontae was a plus 2. So the Hornets were better with Devontae on the court tonight when his third. It was a plus 2 for almost 40 minutes. So the Hornets were effective when he was on the court the whole game tonight. And there's nights like this. And the good news is Devontae needed a game like this to break him out of the struggle. 7 assists, no turnovers is what you need from Devontae. He's been doing it. It's just that the shot hasn't been falling. And if the shot's not falling, sometimes people don't look at the other things Devontae's been doing. Like I said, let's go back to LaMelo Ball tonight. 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He did have 1 turnover, 3 fouls. His performance tonight, well, the one thing we saw about LaMelo is he can still whip the ball around. There was that one pass where he had to PJ for the open dunk. And you saw some veteran moves. There was one where he drew a foul with the shot clock going down, trying to get to the basket. He had a couple plays where he was able to get to the basket. He did, his 3-pointer didn't go down tonight. It was 2 of 6 tonight from the 3-point line. And one of those was completely in and out. That was, I thought that was going in. That should have normally goes in. It was a solid game tonight for him. Nothing special. It wasn't, the game he had the other night. We had 4, what night the game he had the other night. But what Charlotte needs to do is let LaMelo rebound more. They're undefeated this season when LaMelo gets 8 or more rebounds. All I'm saying is with Washington coming to town on Wednesday, he needs to get like the first 8 rebounds of the game so Charlotte can guarantee themselves a victory as well too. All right, so person with the audio issue, I appreciate that. I'm glad you let you know that you're able to hear the show tonight. On the other end tonight, like I said, Gordon Hayward, 21 of his 25 in the first half, and the real concern for me was Gordon's been good all season. The part I just got frustrated with tonight was Gordon's second half. His second half wasn't good. 1 of 5 from the floor. He looked like he was a little bit winded. Might have been not feeling it because he was 1 of 5. He wasn't as aggressive getting to the line. He just didn't seem like himself. He contributed 3 assists and 3 rebounds, but it wasn't the same aggressive Gordon we saw in the first half, especially in the fourth quarter. Gordon was just out of it. 1 of 4 in the fourth quarter, but like I said, because the Tay and TR3, that's the reason Hornets stayed in the game late in the fourth quarter tonight. So Hornets now 6-8 on the season. We had a chance to talk to Coach Brager about the game, and he was disappointed. There's a lot of things to work on tonight, and from watching this game. The good news is Charlotte actually hit the glass tonight after being out rebounded on Thursday. The attention to detail of rebounding tonight was very well apparent. PJ had 12, Biz had 11, Terry had 9, and then you have 5 apiece from Melo, Hayward, and Devontae Graham all had 5 rebounds. They out-rebounded the Raptors. That's a good thing. They kept Chris Boucher off the boards. He only had 9 tonight. The other part is Charlotte did grab 12 offensive rebounds. So if you look at what the positive of changing that rebound in the number is, it was a great thing to see tonight. The bad part was, once again, Charlotte forgot what the 3-point line looked like. There were times in this game where I watched, especially one possession in particular, where I saw Fred VanVleet literally get in the lane, and there were 5 Hornets surrounding him at the paint. Norman Powell was wide open. And the part that was frustrating watching this game was Norman Powell seemed like he had every open look in the world. All 6 Norman Powell attempts that he's made field goals tonight were behind the 3-point line. He made all 6. He was 6 of 9 from the 3-point line. So any basket he made that wasn't from the free throw line came from beyond the arc. It ceases to frustrate me watching the Hornets at times, because Either some nights they're just getting completely obliterated on the rebounds, or there's nights like the last two nights where they just can't hold water from behind the 3-point line. The collapsing on defense, it's because the fact that the dribble drive penetration is not working, or teams know that Charlotte's 3-point defense isn't very good. Now, there were times where you saw Miles Bridges close out behind the arc. You saw him attacking or trying to do things. You saw even LaMelo. You saw Graham. You saw guys attempting. But there's no way. I don't know how much film that they watched that you cannot allow 41 3-pointers made in 2 games. The Raptors tonight literally shot the ball 86 times from the floor and 49 of them from behind the arc. They hit more threes than twos. That is alarming. The good news, and it doesn't get any better, because if the Wizards are coming to town on Wednesday and that game does go down, the issue is Bradley Beal is waiting for you. And the NBA's leading scorer, Bradley Beal, is waiting for you. That is not a good sign. And then Davis Bertans, one of the most accurate 3-point shooters in the league, is also on the Washington roster as well, too. So Charlotte has enough work cut out for him. So as we get to the first break of the season, Charlotte doesn't play again until Wednesday. So they have, as Coach Borrego said, they will have tomorrow off, a day to rest. 10 games in 16 days is a lot, especially with travel. The guys need the day off. Even if they lost, they still need the day off. You got to get your body ready. They will practice on Monday and Tuesday to get ready for Wednesday. So let's give a first quarter grade, because we're 14 games into the season. And what have been some of my good, bad, and things that are ugly? Things that have been good, okay? Gordon Hayward has been better than even I expected. What Gordon Hayward has brought to this team has been stability, leadership, a solid guy down the stretch, even though we didn't see it tonight. He's been really good all season. All right, he had the hip injury, and it only cost them 1 game. Hayward, when he's been in, he's been great. We've all talked about LaMelo Ball, all right? LaMelo has been phenomenal, had the triple-double, the almost triple-double. He excites the fan base as well as his teammates. He gets the open man. He makes the right basketball player offense, and his defense is getting better and better each game. So he is improving on that side of the ball, because if his defensive game can catch up with his offensive game, we have an elite level star player at this point. The shot is better than what we expected. He's a little bit more accurate from a 3-point line than I would have expected this early in his career. So that's a bit of a pleasant surprise. Now, the bad, if you take away tonight, Devontae Graham's shooting has been very bad. It's just been bad. He hasn't liked himself. At one point, I think it was through the 10-game mark, he was shooting under 28% from the floor. And it's starting to creep back up because he's having better shooting games, but the bad has been the shooting from Devontae. His playmaking has been really, he leads team in assists, so he's been doing that on the offensive end. He's been making sure his teammates get involved, but when it comes to him in this new role, he hasn't shot the ball well. It's been bad for the first part of the season. Now, also things that you can consider ugly. Well, this team misses Cody Zeller. Now, for what people will say about Cody Zeller, the team misses him. Not only because he's 7 foot tall, but Cody provides another big body that they can put in the rotation. And it's hard on Bismack Biyombo. It's hard on PJ Washington to play the 5 a lot. Biyombo, I don't think when the season started, Biz was considering playing this many minutes. He's playing a lot more minutes than normal. He's been doing an admirable job, but I think the ability to have guys that are only 6'7" and 6'8" on that front line, LaMelo Ball being 6'7", being one of the best rebounders of the team, it is a problem. It's a fundamentally sound problem. And really, it was a question asked in shoot around tonight about the difference between, is it size or is it want? And it's kind of hard at times to know if it's a want effort, because if you look at what like Chris Boucher was, Chris Boucher is 4 inches taller than PJ Washington. So it's easier for him to get rebounds. We saw what Kristaps Porzingis was doing. You saw Willie Cauley-Stein. If you look at the games where guys have big rebounding numbers against Charlotte, it's more likely because they're bigger. And it's, like I said, it's nothing to get what PJ's doing, because PJ's had three games in a row with over 10 rebounds or more. So he's doing everything he can. It's just the fact of, in this type of lineup, when you're playing a smaller lineup, rebounding is going to be a problem. The other part, the ugly part, is Charlotte's 3-point. What they've been giving up last few games behind the 3-point arc. Dallas lit them up on Wednesday, and Toronto has basically blown the doors off in the last 2 games. So the 3-point defense has not been very good. And the funny part was Charlotte was playing some of the best defense in the league before they even went down to Florida. Charlotte's defense was way improved, and they've done very well when given the opportunity. The problem is last 3 games, the 3-point shooting has just been atrocious. The defense has been atrocious. And I don't think it's actually a quiet night in the chat tonight. I think there's a lot of fans. 10 games to 16 nights, it's a lot on everybody, even the fans. So tonight, it's a good way to charge the batteries. Like I said, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they go back to work on Wednesday. Like I said, we'll have interviews and things with players and conversations with coaches. With Coach on Monday on the 3-point conversions YouTube page, you'll see everything from shoot around and practice on Monday and Tuesday before we get ready for Wednesday's game. I think is at home against Washington at 7 p.m. Fox Sports South will have the game. Fox Sports Southeast will have the game with the commentary duo of E and Dell, 2 of the best guys and some of the best, one of the best duos in the entire league. So, all right, guys, it's a wonderful Saturday night. It wasn't a good, wonderful night in the win column. Hornets fell, like I said, by 3 points tonight. It was just too much of the Raptors, and it's crazy because we're now 14 games of the season, and then you have 4 preseason games, and the Hornets have played the Raptors already 4 times in essentially an 18-game start of the season. So the good thing is they don't see the Raptors for a while, and this is something Charlotte can just look into. Coach Borrego and the staff will have the ability to look at the film over the next couple days and make some adjustments. Washington is struggling, and like I said, we don't know what Washington team is going to look like if we're going to have a game on Wednesday because Washington has had games canceled due to players having COVID. So follow me on Twitter at Danny, DANNY, Thompson on Twitter, as well as 3pointconversion.com. For my Charlotte Hornets articles, and there'll be one going up on Monday as well too, about a little bit more of a further in-depth analysis of the first 14 games of the season, what's good, bad, ugly, and more, including I'll even talk about Coach Borrego and give him my assessment for the first part of the season. So I say I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody stopping the chat tonight. Thank you, Precious, for giving the Blessed Up Award. Of course, prayers as always. Like I said, follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube, as well as keep up with 3pointconversion.com. I'm Danny Thompson for the BuzzCity postgame show. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. And I don't know, I might do a mailbag sometime this week. We'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend.